You're collecting signals intelligence. When we would take the B-2 over to air shows, all of a sudden you've got an aircraft, like a helicopter hovering right over in front of the B-2. No.
Basically a plant.
Well, I mean, guys go out to the bar and they start talking about what they're doing on base.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
And you basically just invited a whole host of people in that you don't know.
All the farmland within the U.S. being bought by China or Chinese companies. Is that?
Well, I think, again, there are multiple likely reasons for that. One is just if you have a lot of money in China and you want to have an escape route, transferring that money into some kind of real asset is very important. You don't want to keep it all liquid because that can be seized. So getting some kind of real property somewhere outside of China can be a way that you provide for resources if you have to escape. So a lot of the Communist Party do that, right? Because you can be in good favor at one time, and then, very quickly, like we saw with Jack Ma, the founder of Alibaba, you can be out of favor, and then you have nothing. And so a lot of it, I believe, is getting assets outside of the country for themselves and their family members. Another is, and in the Communist Party, the way that they look at what's called the Huaqiao, or the expatriates that are outside the country, they look at them as a resource, just like a citizen lives within China. And so there may also be an interest, for instance, to build facilities within that are in strategic locations. There might be an interest to be a part of the food supply, to provide security. So there's a lot of things where your individual interests can align with the Chinese Communist Party interests, and that's why, property can be purchased. It could also be for influence. And, as I was telling you, we had Faraday Futures, which was an EV company that was building a factory outside in Nellis Air Force Base. This was when I was still in uniform, where the mayor of Las Vegas comes to the wing commander at Nellis and says, hey, please don't say anything about this factory because I want to have jobs for Las Vegas citizens. So it can be a way to also influence, local politicians, state politicians, federal politicians that about how things that you want them to do. I'm going to go build something in your district so that I scratch your back, you scratch mine. Now, the asks are not going to be, deliberate, like, obvious, support us if we invade Taiwan. It's going to be more along the lines, these are our interests, and you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. In the case of the Faraday Futures, okay, now the Chinese Communist Party has built this advanced manufacturing facility right after one of our most strategic air bases in the United States, where you can start doing all kinds of intelligence collection and whatever. It can be a base for that. And so there's no like one reason. I think people want one reason. There's no one reason. There's a multitude of reasons that come through the relationships that are created by investing in real assets or in companies here in the United States. And you may not even understand what all those opportunities and benefits may be. All you know is you've just created a tie. You've created a relationship that can be exploited at some time in the future. I mean, this is a well-known intelligence technique, right? Gain an asset, cultivate that asset. You may not know where that's going to go. You may be like somebody that maybe has an opportunity to rise to some level of prominence within a society, but you've got them. You've got a relationship, and over time you figure out how you're going to exploit that, and that's what they're so good at.
I mean, could you talk a little bit about how they would extract intelligence from a factory next to one of our most strategic air bases?
Right. You're collecting signals intelligence. You've got people working there, so they're downtown in the casinos and the bars collecting human. So you just think about you've got the people, you've got the technology, you've got the geography to basically set up a perfect place to. I mean, a consulate in the United States or an embassy in the United States is the same type of thing. It is a resource to gather intelligence. That's why we shut down the consulate in Houston. So you can all the forms of intelligence, all the ints. That's a base for that capability.
I mean, when you talk about human and signal intelligence, I'm trying to make this more real. I understand it, but I can't explain it as well as you can, I don't think. What kind of intelligence could they be extracting from that airbase? I want to make it more real for the everyday listener.
So first of all, it's off the departure end, so you get a real close look at the airplane and the underside of the airplane as they go over. So, and then with SIGINT, you're going to be able to collect information on transmission. Now, where you might be saying, "Hey, I'm not going to turn on something here on the base because I don't want to run it through tests." Because this is going on. So it basically begins to force you as the operator to change how you do things in order to prevent revealing certain things. And we already do a lot of these things already for overhead intelligence collection. But having somebody right next door is a whole other effort. Like for instance, when we would take the B-2 over to air shows, all of a sudden you've got an aircraft, like a helicopter, hovering right over in front of the V2. Now, what are they doing with that aircraft? Are you using radar to basically understand the characteristics of the airplane and how it uses that? It's hard to tell. But once you're within the fence line, there's all kinds of stuff that you can do that gives away secrets that we don't want to give away.
And then with the human intelligence piece, I mean, basically what they could do is create an asset, whether that's sex exploitation, financial reasons, and then you have basically a plant.
Well, I mean, guys go out to the bar and they start talking about what they're doing on base.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
And you basically just invited a whole host of people in that you don't know. We were like, oh, well, they're just workers. Well, workers in China are assets of the Chinese state by law. Right? So you're inviting people that are part of the intelligence apparatus because by virtue of the fact they're Chinese. And what the Chinese Communist Party will say, well, then you're being racist. No, you have to recognize that this is the way that they orient their society and the way that they use their citizens. They co-opt their citizens. Like you and me, citizens of the United States, no longer serving the government. Well, in China, we are. Everybody is. And if you don't, then you find yourself, in a bad space with the government. So you just have to understand that this is the way that their society is arranged, and this is the expectation.
No matter where you're watching Shawn Ryan Show from, if you get anything out of this, please like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, share this everywhere you possibly can. And if you're feeling extra generous, please leave us a review on Apple and Spotify podcasts.